Hey guys, I'm Steve and welcome back to the channel where we talk about the joys of stock market investing and long-term dividend gain. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit the subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. If you're a returning subscriber, guys, welcome back. Well, today I want to talk a little bit about Carvana, and they in all kind of mess and trouble and controversy around them. They just reported disastrous earnings. Last week, well, the weekend just passed, Sunday right now at the time of making this video. And they were disastrous. A little bit about, some of the numbers. Let me see if I can remember. Like right now, the stock is at $8.37 off of a 52-week high of $307, guys. You know what I mean? And this is one of those things where it's constantly falling. The stock then constantly fell. Some of the numbers, let me see. Our retail units sold down 8% year over year. Revenue, I think it was 3.8 or 3.386 billion, down 3% year over year. The average profit on their vehicles is down $1,000. So they're losing $1,000 profit off of making a deal on any vehicle they buy or sell, right? Off of a normal $3,500 profit per vehicle. That's what they're making right now, $3,500 per vehicle. They used to make $4,500, but they lost $1,000, like we just discussed. Why does this happen? What happened? Now, I'm gonna go back as far as I can remember. We'll say I think they only had like one quarterly earning call that was like positive, where they really made a profit. And this goes back to a lot of these companies, especially with a lot of EV and stuff, and a lot of companies where guys, I tell you, hey, you got to be careful about these companies that don't make profit. Now, a lot of people fell victim to Carvana because they had, and I got to admit, they had a very interesting, business model. They had a lot of gimmicks that they spent a lot of money on. Like when you go past Carvana, you'll notice that they got a really big carousel, or they call it the vending machine, where they have the cars in there. And I guess it turns or whatever. You can go and get the car and drive it out or whatever. And that was pretty interesting. I remember seeing that, when it first came out. And I was like, that's different. The company went public in 2017, right? And it started taking off. You got to remember, we had the pandemic. We had all that stuff. And in their business model, which I thought was very interesting, you could sit on your couch and get a car. You ain't got to deal with no salesman. You can buy it's direct by the consumer. You can buy a car right over your computer. They'll deliver the car to you, you know what I mean? Which I thought was cool. And it came out right at the time when COVID, and there was a lot of hysteria. So the stock took off. It was very popular. It really thrived during the pandemic. Q1, I think of 2022 was the beginning and the end. That's when the stock started falling. You know what I mean? And then getting back into some of the things that they were dealing with in 2021 to 2022, right? The used car market was big, and now it started to dwindle. We got the raising rates, the recession, and all that, and it put them in a bind. They had to mark their cars up 30% increase in markup to even try to keep up between 2021 and 2022, thus helping the stock price go down. You know what I mean? So this is a recipe for disaster if the conditions was right. And guess what? Recession, everything. The Omicron, where we had the pandemic, where it was going down and then it started going back up with the Omicron, and it started creating a lot of consumer fears. All of that played a role in the demise of this company, and with a downfall of where it's going down. Now, is the company messed up? No. Another thing is with this company that I thought was crazy was, and I'm not gonna get to the meat of it yet, but I thought this was crazy, where you could buy a car in another state, right? And they'll bring you the car. But the thing that's crazy is they started getting it to where people couldn't get license. They couldn't get the paperwork for the car that they brought. So say I'm in Texas. Say I buy a car in Louisiana, I guess. And I get the car, They give me delivery of the car, but I don't have no title, no paperwork. I can't get insurance yet. You know what I mean? And a lot of people were stuck with cars that they brought that they couldn't even drive. How crazy is that? And they got a lot of investigations on them right now. Like just as of recently, another law firm pushed by the former what was it, Attorney General of Louisiana? I forgot the guy's name. They got a lawsuit against Carvana right now. You know, and like it's just a whole bunch of investigations against this company, a whole lot of skullduggery, you know what I mean? A lot of craziness behind the company. I think in Indiana, they had got their dealer license suspended for a while. They couldn't even sell cars in Indiana. Now, I don't know if they still can. But man, this is like one of those stocks where I was telling you, like, you know, when to sell a stock or when to not invest in the stock. Now, a lot of this stuff came later on. But I mean, a lot of people brought in when this stock was hot, because you know, like how it is on like a lot of these, when the stock gets hot, it makes big news. So a lot of people with the FOMO complex jumped in, and you know, like, oh, I'll just hold it and sit on it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people's investment strategy is different. They might have thought Carvana might have been the next big thing. So I know a lot of people lost money on this, you know, and a lot of people got the Carvana when it was in the threes. I think totally it went up to an all-time high of $367. What if you one of them people that brought in at that time? You know? But getting back to it, like people, I mean, like there's paperwork issues, title issues. People ain't getting like license plate, like the temporary license plates and stuff. They're having a hard time getting them from the state that they bought the car from, because they don't live in the state. It's a whole, man, guys, this is a whole big mess. I don't even know how they're going to recover from this. And that's just one part of the stuff that they're dealing with. You know, like I said, the stock price right now is sitting at $8.76 at the time of this recording. The 52-week range of this company, guys, check this out, has been between the low, well, the high was $307.11, 52 weeks ago, right? All the way down to $8.37. That's a crazy swing. I don't even know what percent. I would have to calculate what percentage that is of loss on the company on shares. And it's like a lot of people got caught up in this. I mean, and it's unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? My thing with Carvana is this. My son sells cars, right? And before he became a car salesman, we went and looked at cars before. And we went to Carvana. I just went in there and looked at Carvana. And I was going to trade in one of my older vehicles, you know, plus some cash, you know, so he could get the car that he wanted. He was looking for a specific car. Carvana said they had the car. We get there, they don't even have the car. Then on top of that, when we got there, and I just was like, you know, okay, let me just see how much they'll offer me for my car and this and that. They offered me, well, first thing that I noticed was this. Anytime you go to any place, anybody that sold a car or they're trading in a car, you know there's somebody there called an adjuster. The adjuster will go outside, he would look at that car, he would drive the car, he'll come back, and they'll lowball you with a price. The car I had was a piece of crap. You know, I wanted to get like at least $3,000 for it. They offered me, I can't remember what they offered me, but they offered me, I think it was like 1,000 over. It was like 4,300 or something. But I'm like, you know, and it seemed like they wanted the car more than they wanted to sell me a car. And I was like, I thought that was strange. Like, you know, I'm using the car as a bargaining chip to get my son a car. You don't have the car that he wants, that you said he had. Then I get there and you want my car more than everything. And I'm like, and it was almost like, and then the thing's funny, with them having adjusted, they didn't have an adjuster. They just had somebody with a checklist. And I'm looking at the guy, I'm like, you didn't drive my car? You just went around the car and then we had a special checklist that we used. You didn't even drive the car. You turned the car on and then turned it right back off. Because you know, a lot of times when you get your car, the adjuster going around your car, a lot of times they try to separate you from watching him and he'll go out there on his own. But the way it was, when we went there, they came out there and just was doing it in front of him. I'm like, man, they just let me sit here and watch it. And I can say anything. And I'm like, why? I'm like, yo, he's just going off of a checklist. And my son even knows that. He's like, Dad, ain't he supposed to drive? I'm like, yo, be quiet. Let him do what he got to do. But anyway, yeah, they offered me more than I thought the car was worth, you know. And they asked me about the car facts and all of that stuff. And I told them the car had never been in no accidents, and it was reported that the car was okay. But it was just an old vehicle with a lot of miles on it. And I was like, why would you even want this car? And then I'm looking around at their inventory. I'm like, yo, they don't even have nothing good here. Like if you go through Carvana a lot of times, you'll see on the commercial or on the website, the cars look real good and all that stuff. You get there, they don't even have good cars in that thing. I'm like, I wouldn't even have that car up there. You know, in that vending machine. And like I just think that, you know, from what I've been hearing, they offered customers loans to buy these cars and then sold the loans to investors through a process called securitization. And I'm like, that's not going to last because economic times will change that real quick. And I mean, I think in the beginning they meant well, and I think they had it in their mind that, you know, we'll just keep building on this thing. And I think the allocation of what they did with their money as they started making money, I think they thought they was going to be around for a long time. A lot of people lost contact with the principles of how they were doing business, and they thought it was going to be like that all the time, and nobody adjusted to it. And I think that's the reason why they're having this downfall. But a lot of people, like I said, have invested in this stock and have lost money, and I feel bad for you. You know what I mean? But this is one of those things where, like, when I tell you, hey, do your due diligence before you invest in something. You know what I mean? And this is just one of those issues. But here's another thing. I didn't know that these guys can't do business in certain states. I'm like, how you getting your dealer's license taken in states and you're supposed to be a $1 billion company? How is that happening? And this is where, like, you know, people like Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, they say, hey, listen, make sure you deal with companies that got good management teams, you know. And I think if anything, the next step for them is bankruptcy. Is it a scam? I'm going to say it's kind of scamish because a lot of people are suing these people. And this is basic stuff. As a business owner, you know, okay, listen, you don't want this type of negative publicity, but they doing stuff that's like overly over the top, like just goofy stuff. And I don't know what's going to happen next, but man, I'm going to be watching to see. Do not mess with CarMax. Don't look at it. I mean, unless you shorten it or something like that, I don't know. But I mean, I would not mess with that stock at all. But that's just me, my opinion. I'm just a guy on YouTube. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the story. I thought it was crazy. it's just wild. But I mean, a lot of people are taking a loss in this. And hopefully you guys watching me, it's not affecting you like that. But it's a sad situation. But as always, guys, man, leave me a comment. You know, give me a like. You guys have been doing a hell of a job with these subscriptions. The subscribers have been rising. And I appreciate everything you guys are doing, spending the time with me on a Sunday. I know it's game time. But I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Take care. Thank you.